The person that sold me this PS5 says, I have a PS5 I bought brand new in 2021, but had an ex-girlfriend get mad at me and pour about a 6-ounce mixed drink into my PS5. It still turns on, but won't update. What do you think I should do? Well, of course you should email me so I can make a video out of it. Luckily they did, so I paid them $125 because they just wanted to get rid of it and see me make a video out of it. They already bought a new PS5, so it was just sitting around their house. Now, I don't know how long ago that was, so let's plug this thing in and see if it still turns on, and then we'll get it apart and see what's wrong and if we can fix it. Okay, all plugged in. Does the disk drive have power? It does. Does the console have power? It beeps. Blue light, black screen, and we have a display. So this is probably the software update that the seller is talking about, that it won't update, can't complete the update. Yep, okay, let's get this thing apart. So I'm kind of assuming that the drink must have been poured down here. I don't see any evidence of anything. This case is dirty, but no evidence of any liquid anywhere here. The seller said that the drink was poured down it, so I'm assuming it's down here somewhere. If it was, you know, horizontal like this, then it wouldn't have done anything. And that's generally the two ways that these are, you know, stored. So no evidence of any issues so far. This shell is definitely hard to get off. Oh, there we go. I think it just hasn't been taken apart before. Doesn't smell super funny. Yeah, same thing there. Oh, somebody has taken it apart, at least partially. Just no evidence of anything so far. Okay. I wonder where the drink was poured. So obviously, in this case, what I'm wondering is what the seller did to make his ex-girlfriend so upset. Oftentimes when I get these consoles in and make a video about them, people hear the story and they automatically blame the girlfriend or ex-girlfriend or wife or whoever it is. But I do want to point out that there is always two sides to the story, which makes me wonder what the seller might have done to upset his ex. Now, if you're the one that sold me this console, feel free to put it in the comments. I think that's a story that all of us would be interested in. So this connector right here, I'm not sure what happened here. The wires are down under this black piece. I mean, they obviously put the black piece on top of those. I'm not sure if that's broken or not, that connector. Let's check that out. So far it actually looks fine, but it did have quite a bit of wiggling to it, so didn't quite loosen this screw all the way here. How did that happen? Okay. I'm just gonna leave all those screws in this plate and set it aside so I can trip on it later and lose all of them or lose it where they go. Okay. Immediately I see some liquid damage right down there. Here we go, right in here we got some liquid. That's all I see so far. And we got some liquid on this ribbon cable, some liquid damage. Let's check this side of it. No, maybe some right there. Might need to take this disk drive apart too. We'll worry about that later though. Okay, now that we have that off, we need to take off these 42 totally necessary screws on this top metal plate so we can remove that and get down to the board and see what kind of damage we got. So far, the only damage is right here. So that makes me wonder if they poured liquid down the back of it. I'm just not sure yet. And with all those screws out, let's get this plate off and see if that gives us a clue as to what's going on here. Forgot to take the cable off. Okay, there we go. And honestly, not much of a clue. So far, the only evidence of damage is over here. So what I'm wondering is if maybe they poured drink down here and it got under this chip right here. Maybe? I don't know. Certainly less damage than I thought there would be so far. We'll see what happens when we get this clamp off and get the other side of the board out. Maybe it's way worse over there. Okay, here we go. All right. Now let's see what the liquid metal looks like. Definitely have a dry spot right there. That is actually mostly to be expected these days on these older models especially. Other than that though, this board looks excellent. So I'm kind of inspecting this area the most because that is where the Wi-Fi chip is. And I don't see anything at all on this side of the board. Just nothing. So this is the only thing I see on the whole board that shows any sort of liquid damage. And just after I say that, I guess there is maybe a tiny bit over here. I feel like the seller must have taken this thing apart and cleaned it off. If it was 6 ounces of liquid that went in this thing, like that would definitely be noticeable. And it's just not. So I do see what could have been liquid damage over here, and then also what could have been some liquid damage over here as well. Evidence for it. The problem is none of these, like these don't, this doesn't like flow anywhere. It doesn't flow under any chips or anything over there or over there. I'm wondering if the reason it won't update is just because of the disk drive and the disk drive ribbon cable. So that's the ribbon cable right there, and you can see there is some corrosion on these little pads right here. And if the PS5 can't communicate with the disk drive, it will not let it update. So what I'm thinking is this might actually be a super easy fix, and we might just need to replace this cable. We need to check out that connector though that this goes into. That's going to be this guy right here. And actually looking at it, I don't see any problems at all with that. So I think the plan of attack here is going to be to clean off this corrosion. We do need to respread this liquid metal and take care of this dry spot. But then after that, take a closer look at this disk drive. Let's get it apart, look at the inside, and then inspect these connectors a little bit closer and see if there's anything going on there. So first, let's take care of this little dry spot here. Oh, it's actually not even that oxidized. That's good. It's mostly just dry. Sometimes there's a layer of oxidation you have to kind of rub off of the APU. Doesn't really seem to be the case here. Oh yeah, that's good. Okay, that's feeling really good actually. That was pretty easy. And same thing here. Okay, really not too bad there. Next, let's take care of this board. And really all I need to do here is just get this corrosion cleaned off. So I'll come in with my metal dental pick, which is not how I recommend to do it for most people. It's just something I've gotten used to. There we go. And my wife's toothbrush with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. I'll just clean the other connectors while we're at it. Okay, and that's looking much cleaner. Now I'm actually going to start assembling this. I'm going to get the board back in and the clamp and top plate on, and then we'll take a look at that disk drive. So I'm pretty happy with how this board looks overall. I don't really see much liquid damage here, so not sure what we'll find on this disk drive, but hopefully that's where the majority of the problem is, because I'm just not really seeing much on the board itself. Now with this plate on and all these screws in, let's take a look at this disk drive, and we need to take a closer look at this ribbon cable. And taking a look at the ribbon cable first here under the microscope. Let's see if we have any breaks in these traces. All this gunk is fine. It needs to be cleaned off, but it's not like a bunch of corrosion or anything. Okay, that all might actually be okay. Let's check this side. Got some gunk over here. Okay, I actually have hope for this ribbon cable. Let's get this cleaned off a little bit better if we can. Not sure if this pin is good enough to work or not, but we will find out. I don't know. Actually, it might be okay. All right. Now the end that's the worst. See how much of this gunk will just come off. Actually, quite a bit of it is just coming right off. That's good news. Great. So let's do a little bit of scraping on this. Just try and get as much of this off as we can. This ribbon cable, like I think it's actually in okay condition. I don't see any major permanent damage on this thing. These are pretty cheap to replace though, so even if there was permanent damage, like that's not the worry. The more of the worry is the connector on the disk drive, because if the ribbon cable is this bad, that means that the connector could be pretty bad too. How's that? Not bad at all. I think this just might work. But let's take a look at the disk drive and the connector there and see how bad that is. Oh yeah, that's going to be a problem. I'm going to get this board off of the disk drive and then we can take a look at it a little bit closer. Now this sticker has also been removed, so that tells me that somebody knew there was a disk drive issue and they probably were trying to get their disk out of it. So to get that little board out, we need to remove all these screws from the drive, which is good anyway. I want to take a look at the inside of this disk drive, since it looks like this is where some of the liquid ended up. This way we can have a look at the inside and see if there's any other damage inside. All right, now we'll just lift this off a little bit, and there's more screws we need to get to. One right here and one right here. Oh, and I think I might see some more liquid damage. I wonder if the drink was poured into the disk drive. If that's the case, then we need to make sure and save this board for sure, even if we have to replace the whole drive. Because the board is married to the motherboard. All right, I think those are the only two, if I remember right. Yep. All right. So here we go. Now I'll undo this cable and this little red and black cable and this little cable over here. And there we go. Okay, we'll take a closer look at this board in a minute. Let's look at this disk drive a little bit closer. I'm just going to take off this metal plate here just to see what it looks like on the inside of the drive. See if the laser and all that circuitry is looking good or not. And how are we looking? That looks spotless inside. So I think we're good here. Looks like this board on the disk drive took most of the damage. So let's get in there and focus on that and see what's going on. All right, so this is the damage we know about right here. Let's have a look at the rest of the board. No damage over there. Good there, good there. Good there, and a little more damage over here. How about the back side? No damage. So if we start over here, let's see if there's any damage we need to do anything about, or if it just needs to be cleaned. And it looks like probably just a cleaning is going to do it for this. Yep. That looks better. This pad right here kind of has a little bit of a hole in it, but the circuit still goes all the way through just fine. All right, now the big work. This could be a problem over here. That is pretty corroded. Wow. All right, so you can just see like all of the liquid right around here, and then it just kind of sat right in here and just corroded away these pins. So let's get this all cleaned up and see what repairs we have to do. And I am very surprised at this. It actually looks really, in fact, like you wouldn't, I mean, other than this, you wouldn't even know there was any corrosion there. This pin might be a little dirty. But overall, man, that looks so good. I'm gonna get up under here with a toothbrush a little bit better, but I don't know, I'm actually pretty hopeful that we might not even have to do any soldering on this. That's insane, that looked so bad. Yeah, we're getting it. Yep. Okay, I think that's about as good as we're gonna get it. I don't think there's any permanent problems here. Maybe. Yeah, this is a little dirty still. I'm gonna get down in here now with a toothbrush. And this side of it also looks pretty good. Okay, think I'm gonna call that good? Yep, you can see that is connected just fine there. Now that it's clean, that's gonna work just fine, I think. So let's get this put back together, then we'll test out this disk drive and see if it works. And if the disk drive works, then it should update. All right, so this is always fun trying to get this thing back together how it goes. I'll put these cables on first. There we go. And then this cable. Okay, and then that goes like that, and this goes like this. And then we can get it back together. Then we can get the plate back on. All right, and now the metal plate is gonna go right here. This little piece of foil always seems to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. There we go. Now, before we do too much of this, we got to make sure and get these screws in, one over here and one up here. These are like the most difficult screws to get in here, I feel like. There's probably a better way to do this too, but I don't know, this is what I found works for me, sort of. That one, and then this one right here. Okay, and then I'm gonna make sure this little foil piece goes right up there. That just helps keep it grounded, I believe. All right, then we just gotta put the rest of the screws in, and then this will be ready to go. Disk drive is ready to go now. So we'll get that here. Hopefully this disk drive works. I didn't test any of those little components there or anything like that because I think they're probably good, but any of them could be bad. Okay, that's on there. Now we can put the mid-frame on. And gotta get this out so that's not stuck down there how it was. All right, here we go. Okay, now I got to tighten all those screws up. Then we can get the fan in, get the cables installed, the covers on, and then we can test it out. So I want to get this cable on here how it's supposed to go. There we go. So this, we need some more slack in it to get it plugged in over here correctly. There we go. Okay, good. So that is now plugged in correctly. When I took this apart, if you remember, one of these ends wasn't even plugged in, so the disk drive definitely wouldn't have worked, even if it wasn't for all that corrosion without that plugged in. I think they probably tried to fix it and just left that unplugged though. Now, sometimes people do ask me or wonder why I don't test things before I put them back together. And there are times that I do test something off camera so I know whether it works by the time I test it on camera. This is not one of those times though. I'm pretty confident that this thing's gonna work. So I hope it does after all of that. But that's why I haven't tested it. I don't know if this thing's gonna work or not. So we're gonna all find out together on this one. Okay, all those are there. This screw is like stripped out or something. Not sure what's going on with it. It is not tightening. Come here. Oh, almost got it. Come here. Yeah, that's because this is a fine thread pitch for metal, for going into metal, and that needs to be not a fine thread pitch. Let's see, hopefully it's the fan cage. Oh, I think this one goes down into metal. I'm not sure if any others do or not. Okay, we'll worry about that in a minute. Let me look at one other thing right now. I think this one, nope, not that one. This one. Yep, that's the screw that should be in there. Okay, so hopefully it's one of the fan screws. All right, now the fan can go in. There we go. There's that part. This cover can go on. I really hope this works so I don't have to undo all of this. All right, now this would go like this. That screw is right. I think that screw is right. Not sure if that one is or not. Let's see. Okay, I think that's the problem. Hopefully that's the problem. This screw is going to go over here. These guys go like this. Down there. And this screw, I believe, goes right down here. Good. Good. Let's see if this one goes down here how it should. Totally does. All right. Much better. Now all of the screws go right in the holes that they should. All right. M.2 cover goes on next. Okay, there we go. Oh, this side first, then this side. Okay, now the covers. I really could just not put the covers on yet. But hey, we're gonna live dangerously over here. And there we go. Let's get this thing plugged in and see if it works. So I've got it all plugged in. I do want to say before I start this thing up, if you don't already know, the TronicsFix team and I have created a TronicsFix Discord. If you want to come hang out with myself and the team over on Discord, I'll put a link to our server right in the description. Now, let's see if the disk drive works. It has power. Power to the console. Blue light. Okay, good so far. System software update installing. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, that's looking good so far. Let's put a disk in and see if the disk spins up. Apparently I already prepped that. After it restarts. So we've got it all started up. Let's see if it's gonna play a disk. Here we go. Takes it in. Shows the disk icon, spinning disk. Will it show up? Oh, it's spinning up. This is good. And there we go. So we've fixed another PS5. Be sure to be good to your significant other today, and I hope you have a good one.